Am I okay? I can remove the note takers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I went ahead and did that. So I'm admitting all the
Okay.
welcome,
Um,
welcome everyone.
welcome in everybody.
I'll let you take over for the admitting.
Yeah, okay, cool. I will just submit people.
Yeah, we're submitting the humans right now. So
Yeah, we
let
are
us know that
scanning.
you are a human. Send us a chat in the chat box. Happy Tuesday. We were kind of hoping it was Wednesday, but unfortunately it's
Yeah.
just Tuesday, but that's okay. Welcome everyone. If you are able to and safe for you to, we'd love for you to join us on camera. Since we are talking about being human through technology. But if not, totally understand as well. So let us know you're alive. We're just doing a proof of life check.
Yeah, making
We're
sure
waiting for you to drop something in the chat.
that
Do,
you're not an AI
do,
note
do,
taker.
do, do, do.
There we go. Good
Jennifer
morning,
is a
Jennifer.
human. We love that. Thank you. Humans are here. Humans are here. Awesome. Let me
Um,
just go through and make sure we haven't missed anyone.
let me just
I'm letting a few more people in here.
thank you so much.
Got it. Yeah, so go ahead and kick us off if you
Yeah,
want.
welcome in everybody. Welcome in. We've got some more people joining. We had a little bit of a Teams issue as well. Sometimes when we send these things out, it does the Teams invite by accident. Sorry for anyone that got that. They're going to be filtering over within the next couple minutes. But guys, welcome and thank you so much for joining us. And we are going to get started. Of course. You guys all got a chance to hear Chelsea speak at our Connect conference. She did a great job, and we are so happy to have her back. She's going to do some follow-up and just kind of talk more about what she knows best, which is video and social media marketing. So thank you so much, Chelsea, for joining us. Take it away.
Thank you so much for having me back, everyone. I'm excited to be here. I know it's a bit overwhelming when we're sitting in a room for, 2 days essentially listening to a bunch of people talk, and especially if they're giving you tactical stuff. So I always offer a follow-up. So if anybody has had time to think about things, maybe some questions came up, the intention for today is for this to be somewhat of like a group coaching call, if you will. So with that said, I would like to answer any and all of the questions that you have in regards to social media. I do have a list of topics that I want to cover that will be helpful for you. But get comfortable with dropping something into the chat, and hopefully, as we go through today's topics, some more questions or ideas will pop up. So, hopefully, all of you were able to join us live at the event. But just as a quick overview, what I really talked about is how we create trust online and the power of a personal brand. And essentially, the takeaway from the keynote was, the higher the need for trust, the more important a personal brand is, because people really need to connect with you as the human being. And so that was really what we talked a lot about. So some of the things that I want to cover today is something that's been on my mind lately, especially with our industry. I say our industry, real estate, mortgage. I also service a lot of people that are in the escrow and title industry, and real estate attorneys. But by and large, we're all in the same sort of real estate industry. One of the challenges that I see a lot of us facing is that we're getting really discouraged with our content creation. And the reason that we are getting discouraged is for several reasons. One, we've been told by many people and experts that we need to make content that is educational and expert focused, right? So that we can build ourselves as a reputable resource, an authority, etc. But the problem is that we are making this expertise driven content, a lot of really helpful, really valuable, good educational content. And then when you put that educational content out to the world, generally speaking, it's going to be probably longer form. And you're probably going to be speaking in that content because let's face it, if you're trying to explain something or you're trying to talk about interest rates, you're likely going to be facing the camera, talking to the camera, and creating a video. It's going to take you probably longer than 30 seconds, probably longer than 60 seconds to communicate an update or an idea. So I want to talk about sort of what's happening in the world of social media so that you can understand and not be discouraged. Because I know that me personally, I do a lot of expertise-based content. I do a ton of teaching people how to market and talking about the why. And I'll be honest with you, that content does not get the same kind of results and views and engagement that content that is lighthearted, entertaining, and very short gets. So there's a few things that are happening in the world of social media that are impacting, I would say, your engagement. Okay, so I want to reframe your mindset on this so that you continue showing up because the traditional metrics of how we view success on social media doesn't tell the whole story. So the first thing that you need to know is that there's a whole bunch of content from a bunch of people that we don't have any idea who they are. I'm going to go ahead and spotlight myself so that there we go. There's a whole bunch of content flowing through the feeds of any platform of people that you have no idea who they are. So we're in a much busier, much noisier feed. Okay, so let's talk about each platform. Facebook historically was a platform where we only connected with people that we knew in real life. So if you're a Facebook fan, you've been living in a world of the same people for a really long time. And that's actually a positive, right? Because we get repeat referrals. We want to be seen by the same people again and again, but your content isn't getting shown to new people. Okay. Recently, Facebook has started to move away from that model very slowly because if they go too fast, people are going to freak out. But what you probably haven't really noticed until maybe you go back into it and look through it and scroll through the feed, and now you won't be able to unsee it. About 25-30% of the content that is flowing through your feed at any time is now from people that you don't follow. So, what you'll see usually when you go to Facebook is you'll open up your feed, you'll see something from somebody that you actually know and follow, and then you'll see an ad. Maybe you'll see two ads, and then you'll see one or two posts from people that it's like, hey, we're suggesting this to you. Okay. So it's training you to start seeing more and more things from more and more people that you don't follow. When you get over into Instagram, it's way more than that. Now, 50% or more of the content that you're seeing in your home feed on Instagram, people you don't know. And when you go into specifically the Reels feed on Instagram, it's 100% of people you don't follow. When you go to TikTok, majority is content from people you don't know. Why am I laying this foundation? Because it's really important to understand the product psychology and how you and I consume. We, as consumers, we don't talk to people we don't know. We're going to silently watch. And it's going to take even longer, more brand exposures, if you will, more billboards on the highway, more drives down the highway for me to see your billboard again and again and again before I actually engage. So, because of how the algorithms are now shoving people that we don't know in front of us and pushing out the people that we've said we want to follow these people, what's happening is we're seeing a whole bunch of content from people we don't know. We don't engage with content from people we don't know in the same way. We silently consume. So what's happening now is that the more and more they recommend these posts to you from people you don't follow, the more and more we get used to passively consuming. So I want you to understand that engagement isn't necessarily down. Like a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, my engagement has like fallen off this cliff. It's probably just different, right? So it's different. Even the people that know you, even the people like when you think about you're consuming content and it's just a lot of content from people you don't follow, you get used to not engaging. So when you do see the people you know, you're so used to not engaging that you forget to engage with them too. So the main thing is that it's a lot busier, it's a lot more competition and noise in the feed, and people who do not know you are seeing your content. What's the positive side of this? people who don't know you are seeing your content for free, which is awesome. It's just taking a lot longer for those strangers to then go check out your profile, decide to follow you. So we are in a world of consumption where a lot of content is from strangers and it's training the engagement, the old school engagement out of us. Because, we used to leave a comment. And now on Instagram specifically, their CEO just announced that likes are going to become more weighted than comments. I don't love that. I want to have conversations. I want to have comments. But I believe it's a nod to we're getting lazy in the feed because it's just this inundation of here's more content, here's more content, here's a dopamine hit. And so we don't really engage. And so now, like, wow, a like, that's a big deal. That's a big action for people to take. So they're starting to weight likes more than even comments. So if your comments have gone down, if you are concerned about your engagement, yeah, there's probably other things at play too, but just know this, across the board on every platform, the way we consume and engage is being trained out of us and being changed. So we are passively consuming. It's taking more exposures for people to actually go and check out your profile and follow. Do not give up because people are connecting while they're consuming. They are seeing your billboard as they go down the highway. So that's number one reason things feel a little bit different and they might feel discouraging. So I want to reframe you on that. The second thing is the type of content we're competing with. And I'm saying we because even though I don't make mortgage content, I make content for mortgage humans about marketing and business. And so we are in the business of creating expertise-based content primarily, right? We're going to throw in some personal content, some sales content, but by and large, we're all out here making educational content of some form or fashion. Why? Because we want people to know we're serious about what we do, we're good at what we do, and we can help explain it and become a resource. We have to remember what expertise-based content is competing with in the feeds. We are competing with a variety of content that I call dopamine dose content. This is the content that you open up when you've had a long day and you're like, I'm just gonna, go down the rabbit hole. And I see this oddly satisfying, like, before and after of someone organizing their pantry. And I'm like, oh, that is so relaxing. That's the kind of content that people are going to watch all the way through because it relaxes our brain. We're over here making expertise content. That requires people to stop passively scrolling and start thinking. So we're already narrowing our opportunities for engagement, if you will, because we are battling for this dopamine dose content. We are also competing with what I call life bites, like little life bits and pieces, where you've kind of got the relatable storytelling, somebody sitting in their parked car telling you about this like funny, chaotic moment that happened. So it's not that we shouldn't be making expertise content. We absolutely have to be. But we need to adjust our frame of expectations because if we're out here comparing ourselves to like, look at all these people whose videos are going viral and who are getting all this engagement, that's for a different purpose. Our content is for education and expertise and trust building. When you are in a high trust, high emotional risk, polarizing topic category, y'all, we are in a polarizing topic category. You may not think so, right? But you think about what do you guys talk about? You're talking about money. And you're talking about making a huge life decision. You're also talking about, okay, if you're on the retail side, you're expecting somebody to hand over all of their like bank accounts to you. That's a very vulnerable thing to do. So we've got a high trust requirement, we have high emotional risk, and y'all have a long sales cycle. People are not buying houses every day, every week, every month, or every year. So we have to remember that you are not wasting your efforts when you are creating expertise-driven content. You are, number one, building a binge-worthy searchable library. Every time you add a post that is you talking about your expertise, the algorithm is categorizing you saying, you are consistently showing up, you are consistently providing valuable content about this topic. We know exactly who to serve this topic to. Like I mentioned at the keynote, I don't have any dentists that follow me. I have only real estate humans. Why? Because the algorithm knows over time This person makes content about this, so it is a long game, but there are things happening behind the scenes. Also, people are silently connecting while they're consuming, and they're not going to leave you a comment. They can't help it. It's been trained out of us, and it's been trained out of you. You scroll and don't engage, right? I scroll and don't engage. I've got to remind myself to do that, right? And so then the topics we're up against as well, easier to consume without really thinking about it versus I'm giving you education, it's going to be harder to consume. Okay, so those are some of the things that are happening behind the scenes of social media platforms. And that's why people get discouraged because we're like, well, this person over here is making content and they're just like killing it, right? Why can't I make more content like that? So if you're going to compare yourself, I would compare sort of more apples to apples, not apples to oranges. Another one is I call meta content creators. Like it's very meta, meaning somebody's on YouTube teaching someone how to be a better YouTuber. Well, of course they're going to get more engagement because I'm on YouTube and I want to learn about YouTube. So that topic is very, appropriate for me versus a plumber, right? I'm not going to search for, I'm not opening up my thing and saying, oh, I'm going to watch a whole 20-minute video on how to fix my toilet, right? But when I need to do that, I want to find it. So I just don't want you to get discouraged because you're probably not going to pop off with your mortgage content. Can you have more entertaining elements to your content? Sure. That's where the personal kind of comes in. That's where you can have fun with the trend. But do not get discouraged if you are out here like every single week. You're like, I'm doing really helpful educational content and I'm getting discouraged. But the way that we are in the world and how we communicate with people is very different now. And so you've got to know that people are still engaging. So, how can we fix that? Like, how can we up your engagement? Well, you heard me talk about at the keynote. It's really, really, really important for y'all to be proactive engagers. Proactive engagers. In fact, I might even say I don't care if you post any content. Now, you should post content, right? And you have great tools like Social Coach. I know a lot of you are hearing about Social Coach. You have great tools where you have an incredible inspiration library. You don't even have to think about it. Like you don't even have to come up with the ideas or the questions. I'm going to give you ways to come up with questions, but you can go to Social Coach. You could take some of those ideas. You don't necessarily have to only rely on those posts from Social Coach. You can actually go and make your own. I believe they have video scripts in there too. So it'll help you come up with ideas for you to actually be in the content. But it's really important to know that it doesn't matter how much content you post. If you are not actively using these tools as engagement tools, your content is not going to go as far as the person who's posting much less than you are, but engaging much more. So, first things first is if you want more engagement on your content, you must be giving engagement first. So, if you've got your best real estate clients, right? You better be engaging on their content first. You better be commenting. You should be sharing where appropriate, right? So you may not want to be sharing like the listings, but if there's helpful educational content, certainly engaging, certainly sending personalized messages through DM, etc., and commenting. Because the law of reciprocity is that when you show up for people, they're going to show up for your content, right? And they're probably missing your content, to be honest. Because if you're not engaging with them, the algorithm does not put your content in front of them. So the best way to get seen by the right people, one, engage with them. And the second thing is to, make sure that you are delivering those. Well, hold on, let me just, I just want to like make sure, wait, we got to wait, rate room people. Can you let some of those, I'm sorry, I see it's adding. There was like two, and then there's three. I just want to make sure everybody gets in. Um,
Absolutely.
Thank you. So it's really more important about who you talk to versus what you post. So if you're like, okay, well, Chelsea told us that we don't have to post anything about mortgage, that we can just talk to people. Kind of. Yeah, that's the basic, right? That's the bare minimum. Talking to people is going to get you more business than any of your posts. Because, like, honestly, people aren't going to remember your posts. They're not going to remember your posts unless you have that one crazy video that's like so entertaining and hilarious that people are like, oh my gosh, I remember when you did that bloopers video or something like that. Okay. So, number one thing is be a proactive engager. Okay. And then the next thing I wanted to talk about, and then we'll open it up for questions too, is I want to talk about coming up with content ideas. So I've talked with your team. I know y'all have social coach, which is great. I have a very, 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 very simple, basic formula of coming up with content and making sure that I don't spend all day reinventing the wheel. So I call this the 17 times 3 formula or grid. So it's 17 times 3. Okay. And I'll explain to you why I have those weird numbers. What I usually do with my clients is I will write down 1 through 17 on a piece of paper. If you like spreadsheet, that's fine. I like pen and paper. I do 1 through 17. The idea here is that if you decide to do one post a week on one platform, okay, great. I love that for you. That's sustainable long term. I think we can all say we can do one post a week till the end of time, right? Three sounds like a lot, daily sounds like a lot, but we can commit to one. Okay. So leaning in on being the super fan and being a proactive engager, that's on the regular. If we're going to post something, we post it once a week. Okay, we can do that. So 17 is the number of ideas, concepts, topics, questions that I want you to come up with. In fact, you can go to Social Coach. You can pull those topics from there. You can probably go back to the post that you've already made on LinkedIn or on Instagram. You already have the content there. We just need to adjust the format that it's in. So what I do is I write down 17 topics or questions. Where do I get the questions? I don't Google. Okay. I don't go to TikTok, which is a great place to actually look for questions. Their search engine is top notch. That's where I go secondarily. I don't go to ChatGPT first. Okay. I start with what are the real questions that people have asked me? What are the questions that I get when I'm on coaching calls? What are the questions that I get in a Q&A at a keynote? What are the questions that I get in the chat box on a Zoom? Why do I start with the questions that I actually get first before going to ChatGPT? Because when you are actually physically connected and you've had an experience with that question, you're going to make content in a better way versus I've never really been asked this question, but I'm going to ChatGPT it and see what comes up. So I always start with what has actually been asked of me first. And I write down all those questions. Okay, I don't believe it, but if you're like, nobody's ever asked me a question, okay, fine. Then you can go to Chat GPT, you can go to Claude, you can go to TikTok. If you guys, you don't even have to post on TikTok, but if you do want to use TikTok for a search engine, I'm telling you, the search on it is so good, and here's why. You could type in mortgage questions, home loan questions, something like that in the search, right? And when you type that in, it's going to show you all the videos, right? It's going to show you like 4 to 6 videos of people in that topic. But if you go a little bit further down below those first few videos, it shows you a section that says people who searched for this topic also searched for this. It's saying, hey, these people also are interested in these topics. And it might be like, oh, you know what? That's a great idea. I hadn't even thought of it. And you scroll down and it gives you a whole new section and a whole new section until infinity. So I love TikTok because it's a really good, hey, people are searching for this. Here's other topics and other keywords they search for. But me, I just start with the basics. What are the questions people have asked? What are the hot mess dumpster fires where things went so sideways that you're like, oh my God, I never want to go through that again with a client? Those are great pieces of content. My favorite content that is going to build your personal brand and trust online, honestly, is not the most asked questions. It's the unasked questions. Why do we not ask questions? One, we don't ask questions because we don't know. We're not you. We're not the expert. We're not the mortgage expert. We don't know. Even if we bought a house before, we don't know sometimes, right? And honestly, maybe we have bought a few houses and we feel kind of silly asking a question. There's probably some of you who want to ask a question right now, but you're thinking, oh God, this is such an obvious question. This is such a dumb question, right? But other people are thinking it. So the two reasons we don't ask questions, the big one, we don't know to ask them. And the other one is we feel silly or we feel like we should know this. So what happens when you bridge this unasked question? People go, oh, wow, I never thought of that. That's a great point. You've instantly built mind share and trust. You've had a perspective shift where people relate that perspective shift to you. And if you can explain someone's challenge or problem so specifically that they feel like, wow, You are talking and made this directly for me. They believe that you have the answer and can help. It's a weird little thing that psychologically we put together. We're like, if you can describe exactly what I'm thinking or feeling, you must know the answer. So it's an immediate trust builder. So common questions, unasked questions, hot mess dumpster fires. That's where I start. Okay. And I do my 17. You can look through your emails. You can look through your text messages too. That's another really good thing. So what's the times three? Well, when I make a piece of content, I never just make one piece of content. I take that idea and I stretch that idea into three different formats. Friends, I do not do this all at once. I don't take one idea, make a video, and then make two more things. I just keep a running list so that if 6 weeks or 6 months from now, I'm like, kind of out of ideas. Well, let me go back to my list and I'm going to remake something with the same exact idea. So here's exactly what I do. So I've written down my 17. I have three little columns, right? So I can do three different formats. Let's say my first topic is hashtags. I'm just coming up with random. Do hashtags still work? Okay, that's a question I get a lot. And we can talk about that too on this call. Do hashtags still work? Okay, I'm going to make a video me talking at the camera, literally answering that question. A common question I get asked is, do hashtags work? Well, let me tell you. I record that. First of all, you're hearing my voice, you're getting my face. It's very humanizing. You've got the person, the personality, and the perspective. Okay. That video, I guarantee you, is not going to perform the 8-second trend video. But that's okay. That's not what it's for. It's for the people that want to watch it and get that information and associate me with that information. That's an expertise-based post for me. So I've got that one, okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the second option. Okay, I'm going to take the same idea and I'm going to make a different type of format post. And I might make something that's not video. Maybe it's just one of those swipeable posts with like the text, and maybe it's the exact same word for word script I said in the video. But instead of it being a video, I've taken the text and put it so that you can read it and swipe through it. Okay. Now I got two posts. Then the next one, the third one, maybe that's my podcast. Or maybe it's another video like a reel or a TikTok, but instead of me talking, I have like, B-roll and I have the text tip over the top of it. It's the same tip I was talking about in all the other pieces of content. Now I've made three pieces of content out of that one idea. I do not reinvent the wheel. You already have the ideas. We just have to reformat it. If you've been making posts and you're not in it, number one, that's where you start. They're going to make a video of all the topics of the posts that you've already made that you are not in. So what the heck is a 17 times 3? Well, 17 times 3 is 51, okay? That's one post every week plus a week off for the year. Like worst case scenario, right? So now you have one post for every single week of the year. You will never run out of ideas. If you want to go to Social Coach and literally just like write out, here's 17, and then make those different formats, it's as easy as that. And I will tell you that there will be people that will see the video reel and see the swipeable post, and they'll comment on both, and they will have no idea that it's the exact same post. There are people that are not going to see the video and they're going to engage with the reel and vice versa. So we need to be repetitive so that the algorithm understands what you're talking about and who should see your content. We need to be repetitive so our brains don't explode because we're not full-time content creators and we don't want to reinvent the wheel all the time. And we need repetition because let's be honest, we've got clients out there who you've told them for a million years what you do, and then you find out that they go get a loan from someone else, and you're like, really? And they're like, oh my God, I totally forgot. What do you mean you forgot? People need repetition. So that's the easiest way I can tell you is the 17 by 3 format, and you will be set. But you will not have success if you 17 by 3 it, put up a bunch of posts, and never engage. The whole key, the whole foundation is built on the engagement. So if nothing else, engage first and then make the content second. Let me check to see if there's any chats in here. Does anybody have any thoughts, questions, comments on anything that we talked about thus far? I'm going to open it up just sort of for casual Q&A and like answer any of your questions. Also want to talk about video too, but I don't see anything in there. So go ahead and start throwing
Tell
in
me,
comments.
what
Yeah.
did you say? What was the third part of it here? The first one was posting and the other one was maybe doing a swipe. I didn't hear what you said for the third type.
Yeah. So it's basically just three different formats. Okay. So the way that I do it is the first one is like a reel, like a video or a TikTok, like a
Right,
short
right.
video,
Uh-huh.
right? Then I'll do what's called a carousel post, but it's just those swipeable ones that are just
Uh-huh.
images, text, right? And then the third one could be another video, but this time it's short video. You're not talking. We call that a B-roll, where it's like maybe video of you working in the office or video of a conference you went to. You've got music layered over it. It's maybe 8 to 10 seconds, and you've got just text on the actual video.
Okay.
So,
Perfect.
or sometimes, like I've even maybe didn't do that, but I said, I'm going to take this topic, I'm going to make it an email newsletter. I'm going to take this topic, I'm going to make it a podcast. My assistant, she does we do a monthly email newsletter to my community, and we sit down and she goes, "What do you want to talk about this month?" And I go, "You know what? One of my favorite posts from this month was this post. Let's take that post and let's turn that into an email newsletter." So it's just about repurposing it.
Okay.
It can be any format, but that's just the three examples that I gave. So
Thank you.
absolutely. Thank you for the questions, friends. Let's see what we got here. I love it. Happy's like, you just gave me my topic for video, the simple way to grow your social media. Absolutely. Happy to help. Um, Carla says, is it better to post directly to the platform or is it okay to post via CapCut to all platforms at once? Yes. So the reason this question comes up is because in our minds, we were all like, once upon a time, didn't they tell us not to use any third-party tools? And yes, that was in like the earlier days of the socials. So since then, what's happened is, to connect anything with like what they call the API. So basically for CapCut to connect over to Instagram, they have to have approval now because obviously Instagram wants to protect its users. So pretty much nowadays, it's all approved, right? The only thing that is maybe not approved is like if you're doing some sort of bot activity, auto commenting, buying followers, that sort of thing, they frown upon that. But anything that is a posting thing, they're good to go. Now, what I will say, and listen, I'm not I don't want to be like the conspiracy person on here, but remember, CapCut is owned by TikTok. Okay. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, they're kind of competitors, right? Do I use CapCut and edit my videos that I put on Instagram? I sure do. But they are actively making their own editing. So Meta, Instagram is making a new app. It's called Edits. And I can only assume that they're making that new app because they don't like the CapCut, who's owned by their competitor, is getting all this traction. So I'm just wondering if when that comes out, will that make a difference? Who knows? Probably not. If I'm Instagram, I'm like, give me all your content. Give me all your content. I don't care where you made it, just give me all the content. So you're fine if you're using an approved sort of third-party tool. The only thing that I see where people struggle is when they have like a set it and forget it tool where they like hire a company that's gonna, you know, put up 30 posts for them and schedule them out and no one's going in and engaging, that's not going to have the same outcome as if somebody who's actually going in and posting and also engaging at the same time. So you're totally fine to post it from those tools. Instagram has been very vocal about we don't want your TikTok watermark on our reels. What they've specifically said is you can upload something from TikTok that has like the logo on it or the watermark, and we'll post it to like your community, but we're not going to allow that to be in the recommendation algorithm. So you get less of a chance for reach and exposure if you have that on there. What's the best platform to post on? Okay, so I always say whatever you actually really enjoy the most, and where you probably find the most of your community. I personally like Instagram because of Instagram stories. That's what got me over to Instagram. Once upon a time, I did not like Instagram. It was not my favorite tool. This was way before TikTok and all those things, but I found it very confusing and overwhelming. I stick with TikTok or with Instagram because I love Instagram stories. So that's my personal reason why I like to hang out there. Now, I have focused on that. I have built my community there. What you focus on expands. It does not matter if you are on Facebook or if you are on TikTok or if you are on LinkedIn. Wherever you focus on and put your efforts, you will grow, expand, get visibility, and reach. Do you need to be on all of them in the same capacity? Oh my goodness, no. I mean, people that do that have like a full-time team. It's a full-time team of people that are posting this and there. So you have my permission to pick the one that you enjoy the most, where you have, a community that you enjoy the interface and that you want to grow. I will say with a little bit of an asterisk. YouTube is a little bit of a different strategy than, say, like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. YouTube is generally longer form. You need to be very consistent. It's a very long game. Yeah, they have YouTube Shorts and all that, but it's a long game. YouTube is really great though for long-term searchability. As in, you could post a video 10 years ago and somebody can still find it today and you can get a lead from that video. That's probably not going to happen as much on, say, TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, but I do find that those platforms have more sort of engagement, if you will, like personal engagement. And now every platform like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn are turning into more of a YouTube where it's more highly searchable. So there isn't a best, it's whatever you prefer. And whatever you focus on expands. If you decide you want to go all in on TikTok, you absolutely can get all of your business from it. A lot of people are like, well, my clients really aren't there. Not true. It's not true. I know people who get 100% of their business from TikTok, and they may be in a very specific niche. Joe says, is it better to post as a story or upload the video to a post on Facebook? Okay. I think this is what you mean, Joe. So you can make a post on Facebook, and the question might be like sharing that to your story, right? Like, is it better to do a story or a post? And so on Instagram, on Facebook, this will apply. The goal for a story is different than the goal for a feed post. Okay. Stories are really meant only for your community that follows you. If we only posted to stories for the rest of our lives and never posted to the feed, we would never grow. We would never grow to new people. Okay, you could still get business because you're in the community of people that see you, but no new people will ever see your content, right? Because stories is only seen by the people that follow you and it disappears, right? It's not long-term content. Now, when I post to the feed, that has an opportunity to potentially get found by people that don't follow me. More on Instagram than on Facebook. Facebook is going that way, but more on Instagram. So when I post to the feed on Instagram, I am hitting my community that follows me, and I'm also possibly getting served to people that don't follow me. Growth, visibility, reach for free. When I'm posting to stories, it's not about growth. It's not about visibility. It's about creating relationships, which creates conversion. It's about creating conversations and having those like human conversations. So I wouldn't say one's more important than the other. If I had to pick one on Instagram specifically, stories is where conversions happen. Stories is where you're going to get most of your business. Okay. But we don't want to forget about the feed too. Back to what you're saying, do the hashtags work like they used to? Thank you. I know, I was like waiting for somebody to ask the hashtag question. Let me explain how hashtags work from a Gen Xer's perspective. My son's 12. We go to the library pretty frequently. I remember when I brought him to the library, I said, babe, when I was your age, we didn't have computers to find the books. And he's like, well, how did you find the books? I'm like, we had these really big, giant, like cabinets that you would go to and pull out this really long drawer, and there was recipe cards in it. And he was like, what's a recipe card? I'm like, oh, flashcard. And he's like, okay, I'm tracking with you, right? I'm just like, I'm so old to him. He's like, I don't even know what a recipe card is. So I'm like, they had these like flashcard, like note cards, and it would have information. And on the card, it would tell you, go to this section of the library, go to this shelf, and here's where your book is going to be, right? That little like Dewey Decimal System flashcard guy, that's what like a hashtag does. A hashtag only helps you find something. It helps you find the book. It helps the book that you're looking for in the library or the topic you're looking for on Instagram. It helps it become discoverable just by putting that like symbol in front of it, right? But what it doesn't do Let's say I find that book in the library and I check it out and I read it and I hate it. Okay, it doesn't make the person a bestseller. It doesn't make me like the book. A lot of people have this idea that if they use the right hashtags, it's going to help them grow. Hashtags don't help anyone grow. They don't help anybody get more sales. The only reason it may have a dotted line to that outcome is that maybe someone found your content when otherwise they wouldn't have been able to find it if you didn't have a hashtag. They loved your content, they decided to follow you, and then they decided to work with you. So hashtags simply help the algorithm categorize your content and help people be able to find it with like keywords. Now, in the future, do I think we'll be using the symbol, the hashtag symbol? No. The algorithms and the AI is so smart. It knows exactly what our video is about. If you're talking about mortgage rates and you don't have anything like hashtag mortgage or hashtag mortgage rates, it's still going to know what you're talking about. So for now, we basically, by and large, are still using them just to kind of really help out the system. And what kind of hashtags should you use? One, think about what you do. Words that describe what you do and where and like what people would be searching to find information about that. So for example, think about this too. I'm a speaker, I'm a coach. I don't use a lot of those hashtags. Those describe what I do, but are people more likely to look for social media coach or are they more likely to look for social media tips? So you need to be thinking about what are people searching for and attach that to your content so that they're more likely to find it. So yeah, long answer. You can still use hashtags at some point. I would not be surprised if we don't even use them because the AI is so smart. Let's see. Is my choice of platform influenced by my personality and target audience? How can I decide? That's a really good question. So you could decide by, where you feel most comfortable, meaning like maybe you've been on Facebook the longest, and that's where, you've been comfortable. Now, one thing that happens though is like because Facebook's been around for a really long time, we kind of get comfortable there. And we might think, I don't want to go learn Instagram because it has a learning curve. Everything has a learning curve, right? There's going to be some new tool that comes into Facebook that's going to have a learning curve that you're going to have to learn. So I don't want people to be held back because they're used to being somewhere. I would say, if you've been on Facebook for a while, you're comfortable, you get how it works, you know how to post, great. You're going to be fine to go maybe over to Instagram or LinkedIn and dabble there because once you know how to post on one thing, you know where to post. So I would say, where do you like the environment the most? What kind of content do you like to consume? So you might just have to spend a little bit of time in each one and see what you enjoy. I always lean on what do I like? Because if I like being there, if I like that format, I'm more likely to do it. I'm more likely to engage with it. I'll be honest, I don't love making reels. I don't love making reels. Why? I have to think about it. I typically create a script. I have to edit more. And so it's more time, it's more brain power versus stories where I don't have to think about it. So I always lean into and encourage people like, first, find out what you like, what's easier for you, what's more enjoyable for you, and start there. If you already have an established community somewhere, that might be a good place to start. But honestly, I always say experiment and see which one you like more. What type of content is good for stories on Insta and should it have captions? My very limited experience with Insta stories is that you can't really write much on it, only whatever text you write on the picture itself. Okay. So I did not come up with this, so this is not my idea, but Gary Vaynerchuk said, don't the best kind of tip that I can give you for content is document, don't create. And what he meant by that is, I'm creating a reel, right? I'm thinking about the topic and the script and editing and all that. When it comes to stories, it's kind of one of those things where the hardest thing for me to get started with stories was to remember to actually like capture anything in what I was doing, honestly. Because I would just get into my day and be like, well, what on earth am I going to talk about? I want you to think in terms of sort of like day in the life stuff behind the scenes. So, for example, you literally could take a screenshot of me right now. Like, you could be like, let me take a little picture story of this. You could say, enjoyed the class learning about social media. You could tag me or not. You could put your 3 takeaways or your 1 takeaway or not. But you literally aren't creating something new. You are already doing the thing. You're already here in the class. You could take this literally You could take a picture of your office or your desk today, and you could say, today looked like. And you could literally list out the things that you did. I'd recommend it's just not all business. I'd recommend, if you took the dog for a walk, if you did your morning reading, if you did a meditation, people still want to see the human side of you, right? What that is you're selling without selling. You're like, I'm actually doing all these things. I'm reminding people what I do and I'm selling without selling. Another helpful tip for me is thinking about in-betweens. I call it the in-betweens, right? So you're not going to like whip out your phone probably in a meeting, right? You're probably not gonna be like, hold on, let me document this, right? You could if you want to, but by and large, you're probably not. But when you're done with that meeting or helping a client or something like that, you have the in-between. And you could decide to pick up your phone and say, just got done helping, do X, Y, and Z. And this question came up I thought was really helpful and literally just answer it. So it's more about not thinking about what kind of content to create. It's more about what are you doing? And I know the big mental block, the limiting belief is my life is boring. People love boring content, especially when you ask a question about it. So if you are afraid that your content is boring, okay? Like for example, what do I have around here? Okay, let's pick this. This is a thing I put my phone on, okay? It's like a little, I don't even know what it's called, right? But I have it on my desk and I love it, okay? This is kind of boring. If I was like, make a story about this, boring, right? Or pens. Like, I know y'all have favorite pens. This is my favorite pen, which by the way, if you're looking for a really good blue, the Bic Gelosity .7, it's very, very juicy. Anyway, I know that you're like, oh my God, I love a pen. You guys, these are boring pieces of content. But if I literally got on anything and asked a question, if you ask people for help, for feedback, for advice, for their opinion, so much engagement, right? Even if it's boring. So if you have something boring and you're like, I love this little thing I got. Have you ever heard of it? Did you try it? Do you have a recommendation? People will engage. In fact, the most boring thing, I proved my point. I said, you guys, you can make anything engaging, especially if it's boring content, by asking for people's feedback. I was in Costco and I was by like the big Kleenex giant, stack of Kleenex thing that you can buy like 30 of them or whatever. I go, watch, are you guys team cube Kleenex or you square rectangle box? I had 300 people that were like, well, I like the rectangle because it fits nicely under the arm in my car. I'm team cube all the way. Like so boring. Okay, but when you ask people for their opinion or their advice, and I know you're probably thinking, laughing, okay, that's really going to help me get more mortgage deals. Okay, dotted line, it will. Because remember, we talked about small talk leading to big talk. A friend of mine, she's a brand expert. She did my brand, okay, the person I worked with. She was doing something boring about, she's talking about air fryers. Remember the air fryer revolution where in 2023, like everybody in the world, including me, got an air fryer? She posted it and was like, hey, I just got a new air fryer. What do you recommend making in it? Four humans, not many, four humans sent her some tips, right? Nothing to do with her business and branding. She ended up making something, and then that person that recommended it, she took a picture of it and she was like, thanks for the recipe. I made it. It was great. Literally, that person was like, I'm so glad. Oh, you know what? Actually, you do branding, right? I'm telling you, it's as wild as that. And so she literally can say, I got a client because I posted my air fryer. Now, is that going to happen all the time? You can't always connect the two, but boring content on your day to day, if you're worried it's too boring, simply ask for people's feedback. What do you think? What do you like? Do you like a blue ink? Do you like this? Like, people love to be asked questions. I know it sounds hilarious, but try it. I promise it will work. Do you use ChatGPT for anything in your daily routine for video creation? Okay. I actually prefer Claude over ChatGPT. I don't know if any of you all have tried Claude. I just feel like it sounds more like me and more human. But I never start usually there. So I have a coach, and my coach said, just say it ugly. Don't worry about saying it pretty, just say it ugly. That's what I use it for. I put in the idea that's all over the place, and it helps me, kind of organize my ideas. I don't use it necessarily for like scripting. If I do, I'm always finessing it. I usually have the idea and I will go there and help it, and it will help me to say it in a different way or hit the thing like, here's what I want to convey. How could I say that in a casual, easy way, right? So I use it for things like that. I also would recommend the exercise of typing in like what are the hidden fears and feelings and emotions that somebody who is going through the mortgage process would have. Why do I do that? Because when we can get really specific with our wording in our videos, like when I say, are you feeling a little bit resentful that in 2025, all you want to do is actually like, help people get a mortgage on their house, but you feel like you have to be this full-time content creator making videos all day? And people are like, yes, that's totally how I feel. Again, remember I told you when you can pinpoint how somebody feels and what their problem is and what their frustration is, they believe you have the answer. So when you have feeling words in your content, that's what I use ChatGPT for. Why do we rack our brains, right? Just say, how did my client feel? Are they feeling overwhelmed? Are they feeling confused? Like to help you kind of drill down. I don't use it ever for pop it in. Oh, good, copy paste, make it into a script because it's just not going to sound like me. I don't care how many prompts you have or how many times. Like I just feel like we need a bit of that humanity in it. But there are a lot of things that you can do with it. But for me, it's usually, I'm saying it ugly, help me say it in a more organized way. Is it good to put a trending song in the background of your reels on low to help get more traction? Yes. Um, with an asterisk. Okay, so here's the deal. And I think this is happening less now, but I don't know if that's accurate or not. Anytime you add a trending song or sound to your content, um, Instagram has literally said you're going to get more reach. Why? Because one of the ways that they categorize content is not just by topic, but it's also by like what audio track you used. Because some people search for like, oh, what's the audio track? So they say you're going to get more reach, more visibility. They don't say how much, right? So it's hard to say if it's totally worth it. What I will tell you is that personally, when I'm talking in a video, I don't always add music. In fact, I usually don't. One, because they can take that music at any time. Like, and it's happened. I've got a bunch of silent videos now because if some weird thing happens with copyright, like the artist says, wait a minute, you don't have the rights, Instagram, to use that, even though Instagram provided it as an option, they could take that track. And if they take the music, they don't leave your voice. They literally take your voice out of it too. So that's a bummer, right? You can't get that back. So you don't want to have like a content library filled with a bunch of silent videos because nobody's going to watch it. So I would say use music when it's adding to like the cinematic or emotional quality. I try to do that more than trying to like hack the system to get more views because views don't equal value. Just because I was like, wow, this one got 50 more views than I normally get, it must have been the sound that I did. There's so many other factors at play. Was it an 8-second video? Was it an 80-second video? What was the topic? Was it entertaining? Was it expertise? So it's if you want to use it, yeah, you might see a bump in numbers. I'm a big fan of using music when it adds to like the cinematic or emotionality of the context of it. But when I'm talking and educating and listen, I just realize I'm not going to get the same amount of views. I'm just not. A 3-minute video where I'm talking, it's not going to. I'm not making it for that reason. My purpose is for the 2 people that will actually watch it and hire me, which happens all the time. I'm putting out content where people can binge watch it if they want to, or go and watch one before they meet with me and decide I'm going to hire this person because they know what they're talking about, even though they just watched one 2-minute video. That's all I'm making it for. And I'm lying. It's not all I'm making it for. You guys, when we make more content, we get better at formulating our ideas, communicating them to other people, which makes you better in your in-person meetings. It makes you better when you're standing up talking in front of an audience around the conference room table. It makes us better. So even if people aren't engaging with my content, the fact that I keep making it makes me better on stage, makes me better on a Zoom, helps me be able to articulate a concept to someone sitting across the table that's never going to see me on social media, but they're going to say, that was so helpful. Well, you know why it was helpful? Because I've made 50 videos about it, and now I can tell you exactly how this works in plain English so that you understand it like a 7-year-old. And that is what is going to get them to refer you, right? So There's a lot of intrinsic value too. Let's do this one. Would you talk more about would you talk more about captions and Insta stories? Yes. So any video, okay, whether it's a story, a reel, anything where you're talking, you want to have closed captions on because a lot of us are not consuming with the sound on. So we'll just skip past that. And if we're skipping past something that doesn't have context, we're just not going to engage with it. So you're missing out on me being able to engage with it. Whereas if I have the sound off, maybe I'm in the airport or I'm in public or my husband's watching TV and I don't want to be rude, I can still engage with your content and now I can send you a message, whereas I wouldn't have sent you a message before. Also, yeah, having text like so that I can read, especially if you're doing like an educational tip, you want to have text on there because like if you're like a neurodivergent like me, really helpful for me to retain and process the information that you're saying verbally if I can actually read it as well at the same time. And remember, if nobody reads it, no human, the algorithm is reading it and it's understanding what you are talking about on a regular basis. So yes, you should have closed captions on story videos, on Reels videos. I know you have to push a button and takes a couple of steps. It gets faster every time. And if I told you that it increased your engagement and watch time by double digits, you'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll do that. It's a small price to pay, right? And of course, for those users who need the captions, for people who are hard of hearing and deaf. So we have more inclusivity and accessibility for those users as well. Captions on still photos for Instagram stories. So I'm thinking maybe you're talking about like the text below it. Yes. You don't have to make like a novel, but I like to write. I like to explain. And the way that I explain it is like my kiddo is opposite of me. Like I'm wordy, I like in depth. He's like one sentence and he's done. He's a man of few words. The algorithm appreciates more words. I'm not saying that you should feel like, oh, great, now I have to do like multiple paragraphs and everything. But it's again looking at what's the most relevant, most complete content. If somebody's searching for an explanation about something, what's YouTube going to serve you? It's going to serve you the most relevant, most comprehensive, most complete videos that really thoroughly answer the question you have typed in. So I do believe that even if you're doing a video, it's good to have some sort of context again. And usually what I do, especially if you're doing expertise-based content and you're doing really things that people have to think about, right? About mortgage concepts and all of that. I like to do a shorter video and then I'll direct them, hey, if you want more examples of what this looks like, or if you want to do some mathematical examples, put it in the caption, right? So now it's almost like a continuation. And the people, albeit probably a small amount, that want more and that want those examples now have it. And they can be like, wow, that was really helpful. Okay. So, yes, you should have a caption. Now, if I'm doing like a birthday post or a vacation post, am I writing like a novel? No, I'm just, having a couple sentences. But by and large, when I'm doing my educational content, I do like to have a caption because for those people who want more of a deep dive and also for the algorithm to really understand and say, this is a really complete, relevant piece of content. All right, we are right at the time. So anything else that we want to cover or chat about before we go? Team Nova?
Looks like we have one. Wait, this is the next question you were talking about. I have no idea how to put text below pictures on stories. Uh,
Okay. Yes. Okay, so it would only be, yes, you are right. You're not crazy. So on stories, you put the text, like if you're typing, let's say it's a not a video. Let's say it's a picture of me blowing out the candles on a birthday cake, right? You know kind of what that is. You could see I've got a birthday cake, right? But maybe I want to put, today is my birthday or something like that. Then you would actually, there's a little text tool and you can just go to YouTube University and just type in, how do I add text to a story? Works the same way on Facebook. You'll push the little button, you'll type out the text, right? Now that is different than say captions or subtitles. The subtitles, when someone's talking in a video and the words they're saying are actually like almost typing out while they're saying it. That's a little bit different than just you typing out a sentence or a few words. That is also in that same menu that you're basically going to tap on, and there's a button that says captions. And so it will automatically do that magic for you. It listens to everything you say, and then it adds it to there. So it's a little bit of a technical one step, two step kind of a thing. But yes, the text will show on the actual story, whether it's a picture or a video. And you can either type out the text manually, or if you want to add the subtitles, because you're talking in a video, then you want to tap on the captions button. So I know that might be a little confusing if if you've never done it before, but everything is for free on YouTube and they will teach you how to do it. And then the last one is I use captions, $60 a year saves the video to your photos. Yeah, definitely that's a great tool. I have used captions. Now I use CapCut because it pretty much has all the captions. I think it might be cheaper than that actually, but use what you're comfortable with and what you know. And you made a good point that if you're going to different platforms, then you can just record it on your phone, pop it into captions, and put those captions on, save it to your camera roll. You could save your Instagram reel into your camera roll and then post it to the other ones if you want to as well. But I don't know if captions maybe probably post it out to different things. So good. I'm glad I was able to clarify that.
Awesome.
And yeah, I'm going to put my Instagram handle in the chat. So if you all have questions that you didn't get to, feel free to send me a DM if you want to tag me or if you took any, story potential pictures that you want to do a day in the life or you need any kind of clarifications. Feel free to connect with me there. So let me get this into our chat.
And while you do that, just want to say thank you again, Chelsea, so much. This was wonderful, really, really informative to everyone on the call. I'll be sending a recording of this out to everyone, so you'll have the full thing. You can watch in perpetuity. We're going to be launching Social Coach. Some of you are on Social Coach already. We're going to be launching it company-wide in the next few weeks. This is an incredible, easy way to get started doing video on social media. And yeah, again, thank you so much, Chelsea. You mentioned you have a podcast. Is that true as well?
Yeah, I'm on hiatus right now because I'm starting a new project with it. But yes, I've got
Okay,
a couple hundred episodes that you could go back and listen to. It's really hard to find. It's just my name. It's the Chelsea Pietz podcast. So
perfect.
that's on there. And I have tons and tons of videos. I'm actually making a new video today that I'll be posting specifically about sort of what we talked about the challenge of having a high trust, emotional risk, long sales cycle kind of job and making content that doesn't get a lot of engagement. So I'm posting that today on my Instagram.
Awesome. And yeah, everyone on the call definitely recommend. Like just these are such great tips, such good stuff. So thank you again, Chelsea. Have a great rest of your day, and thank you to everyone who joined the call. We'll talk to you guys later. Thanks
Yeah,
so much.
thanks everyone. See you soon. Bye.